Guys, and welcome back. This is a video I'm very excited for. I am the motorcycle rescuer and this is Motorcycle Rescuer. Hi everyone, Charlie here, of course. I'm off to pick up a bike that I would probably call my nemesis. You'll soon find out. Hi guys, welcome back. I was quite cheeky last night, or this weekend, and I went and bought a second project. A Gilera DNA 125 popped up, this one right here. And it's in great condition. I know it doesn't particularly look it, but it is in stunning condition. And it's going to polish up beautifully. I know it has some trick parts on it as well that need kind of little bits of attention. For example, it has a quick throttle. People don't really understand this stuff. That's a quick throttle. It's cool to look at, but no good on a bike like this, and it's been run terribly. But I do believe that with a carb clean and a battery and some new fuel lines, that this will be a running, riding bike. So that's going to be kind of, I think this will become a quick turnover project actually. So at the moment I'm going to pop the carb off and give it a very quick carb clean. That's kind of step one. And then it will be new batteries on its way already. Change the fuel lines on the weekend. Get it started up. That's your step one, get it started up. Step two, I want to paint the frame. This is the original colour of the frame, but it never did it any justice. So the frame needs a paint. It's probably going to go some sort of black. And then I'm going to look at how reliable it is. I'm going to take it out, I'm going to run it a few times. If we find that it's not overly reliable, I'm going to go down the route of replacing the carb to either a high performance one, or a maybe like an alternative, like the Piaggio Fly or something. Some sort of alternative that's more reliable, because these carbs are known for not being particularly reliable, but because they're 38mm, I believe they're 38mm on the way in, we don't normally use the Fly ones because they're smaller, but actually they're much more reliable and they provide the same kind of speed. So I'll pop this off, I'll have a quick look, we'll see how we're doing with it, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, came off easy enough. Let's get these extra wires off. Oh, look at that weird, whatever that was, come out. That is a fuel overflow or a coolant. Tuck that in there. What else we got on here? And we've got the actual, yes, the actual throttle. Let me pop that off and we'll have a look inside this carb, give it a quick clean. So the first thing you do with any carb like this is you push the slide up, and this one has stayed up, it's gone. There's your problem there, there's step one. So I'll pop this off, it's been kind of bolted on in the past. Big chance this needs a new diaphragm. That makes this carb unworkable actually, and this is where I might need to move to a upgraded aftermarket carb, because you just can't rebuild these things anymore. Getting the parts is quite rare, and they're just kind of past it. But you can measure the intake, the inlet and the air sides, and you can buy replacements. You can also check the jetting and make sure you get the right one. So let me check this diaphragm, see if there is something I can work out under here. Probably won't be able to, but we'll have a look. Alright guys, this carb's got many issues. The slide doesn't seem to see, it should go much lower. This is the wrong slide, the wrong diaphragm up here. It's also been cemented in, look. So if I peel this off, it's a bodged repair. Not necessarily the last owner, but someone at some point. So that doesn't sit low enough for it to do what it needs to do. It should be sitting on the grooves down there. So that isn't the right slide. Secondly, the choke is broke, the wires are off. Thirdly, the idle jet down there is completely rounded and scuffed and screwed. I can't get anything on that. Of course it could be drilled out, but no pointless cobs. Past it. And you know, it's just, generally it's not serviceable at this stage, this carb. I'm going to have a little look in there. I feel like I might have something similar, but I'm very happy to order an upgraded carb online for this bike. I like the DNA. I'd like this DNA to be a more reliable one, so very happy to buy a better carb for this one. The spring's too weak, it wasn't pushing it down, the diaphragm, but that's all wrong. It's plasticky, it's all wrong, and it's not the right slide anyway. So yeah, I'll get online. That'll be the first thing. Good thing about it is it's an automatic peace of mind. You put a new carb on a bike like this, straight away you've got peace of mind. So well worth doing. So, Gilera DNA video 1 to bad start. So yes, welcome back guys. This is my Gilera DNA 125. Extremely popular bikes at the moment. But rubbish bikes, all in all. Very heavy bikes. Smallish engines, even the 125. They need a bit of tuning just to keep up with the equivalent Gilera runners. But saying that, there's a few people out there who'll pay good money for a DNA 125 running and riding well, because it looks and rides like a motorbike. I've got everything needed for this bike, but it's not all on the bike. I've got the airbox and everything in there, and the rear panels. The panels are in good nick. At first I considered painting. I still can consider painting, but I do like the blue. So I'm going to have to kind of think about all of that stuff. Now this bike at one stage in its life was extremely looked after. And I can tell you some of the things that helped me understand that. For one, super quick throttle. This is a quick throttle. It's a reducer. Alright, Chin. It's a throttle reducer. So it's a quick throttle. Helps you get the bike started. What people don't understand on this bike is that this throttle doesn't help a diaphragm to carb. So it's a cool upgrade. Doesn't help for a carb that uses a diaphragm, because obviously it's the wind, and it's the diaphragm has to pull up the main jet. But it's nice that it's had some sort of looking after. This exhaust system is a very expensive exhaust system actually. I can't remember what it's called, but I remember seeing it online. That Harley Davidson sticker's rubbish. How have that even managed? Whatever. It's an exhaust system. It's good. It should be fine. It's a 4-stroke. It doesn't need any back pressure. That's okay. And I think you saw quickly in the last video that I took the old carb off. It was wrecked. It was junk. And I racked my brain. I spent a lot of time online looking for alternatives. I spoke to a few people. Daniel Barnes. Daniel Barnes comes up a lot in our videos at the moment. Nat was talking about him the other day, and I talk about him every now and again. And I think maybe Bertie or someone mentioned him not long ago. Maybe DT Essex. But some of our watchers are brilliant, guys. They're so cool. They're so helpful. Like their kind of knowledge is unbelievable, and it's really nice to have this small community of people who are all bike related, you know. So where was I? I did some research on carbs, and there were many options. You had you know, slide carbs where you control the slide. That's where the quick throttle would have come into play properly. You had original carbs, hard to find, cost a lot of money. Crap, all of them. You had slight upgrades, which I think I've got now, a slight upgrade. And it was very hard to work out what carb would work on this bike. What I've bought, what I think will work, what I've not even looked at yet, is a much later model carb, a much later model. It's like a 2009 ST model carb. They're meant to be better. They're meant to be better than the originals. The originals just didn't work. They just didn't. They worked at the time, but they died easily and quickly. These are meant to be somewhat better. I just hope it fits, and I'm going to open it up, give it a quick clean, and hope it's together. As you saw in the last video, my one was it was crap. Let's check the slide on this. Look at that. That is what you want to see in here when you slide. Now notice the slide difference on this. This is a thin metal slide. The old one was the plastic round slide, so it is a different carb. But I of course need it to fit and work. So I'm going to pop that open. That's the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to spray it through and just kind of hope that that's good and ready to go. One of my next steps is I want to check the fuel lines. I mean, to be fair, this last bit, I have no idea if this is going to pump fuel, guys. That's kind of my concern. I've got new lines, better lines. I think I'm going to run my new lines all the way. So I'm going to need to go under the bike. I'm going to need to drop the side panels and do that. Just at this point, for the price of this bike, this could possibly be a 1,500 to 2 grand bike. So I want it done properly. Yeah, so quick carb clean, new fuel lines. That's the angle I'm going with at the moment. There you go, guys. Easily accessible. I'm going to give the frame a bit of a clean one under here. This is the standard paint. I was considering painting it, but if it cleans up a little bit, I'll leave it alone. You can now get to the fuel pump, which you may or may not see under there, as in it may not have one. This is where you change the lines. Best practice is to follow what you've got. So I'll slide one down here to the pump and switch them over. These are brittle now, which is no good really. So definitely makes sense. That little fuel filter is not going to be great either. So I'll put a better one in place. Almost definitely that goes to the airbox. That can be tucked away. At the moment I don't know if there's fuel in there. It will be stale if there is. I think I will pop the fuel tank off. I think I'll drain it. I'll use my machine to drain it if possible. At the moment, looking at it, it's in good nick. I will top it up with fresh, good coolant. And then there's little bits that need looking at when we're kind of at a bit more of an appropriate stage, i.e. the carb's on and the battery's in. I've got a brand new battery for it over here, which shouldn't be sitting on its sides. There you go. Brand new battery. And I've got these new long reach flathead and Phillips, because when we were working on John's Triumph, it's very hard to get to the second carb. Oh my god, who's watching me? What the hell? That's ridiculous. Why would you have a rear view camera on a little DNA? Oh my god, that's ridiculous. It's like a James Bond bike. Right, let me get to it. Okay, so I put my pump in the tank and tried to suck it dry, but there was absolutely nothing in there. Now that's rare to have nothing at all in there. So I'm going to put some fuel in, but basically I can't afford to have fuel spill on this occasion, because last night I went to my fuel station and I could not get in. The queue was massive. I went down early this morning, put 20 quid in the car, put 5 litres in the can, but that's it. It ran out. It ran out while I was there, actually, all of the pumps. So I can't have fuel spilling out. What I'm going to do is put some in bit by bit, fill it up, keep a very close eye on the tap itself and then the pump that helps it get up to the carb, and see that we're holding the fuel. before I go any further. Then I'll go into the carb stuff, popping it open, giving it a quick clean. Then we'll pop that back on, and I think we'll be at a stage where we can look at the electrics, just see what we've got. So I'm going to chuck fuel in, and we're going to make sure there's no drips at all. It's got this little holder, this one, look. That's rare. Yeah, how cool is that? Oh. Normally they disappear, guys. Probably put a litre in there. I'm gonna make sure it seals. I'll chuck another litre in soon. So far so good. I can't see any drops apart from what I massively spilt myself. Cool, I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna do that a bit more. I'll let you know if there does appear to be any drips. But for now, I'll carry on. What I was saying was this bar, they've always broken gone, so it's rare to have it still in there, so that's great. This seems like a very genuine bike so far. So the carb's in good condition. It's had a good clean. For reference, the main jet is a 98. I'll check that later because, remember, this is a newer carb, a modern carb compared to what it was. It's still a Gilera carb, it's still a genuine carb. I just hope it all fits, actually. So I'm going to pop the carb back on at this stage and probably get some electrics put in, because what I want to see is when we kick it over, fire it over, is the fuel pumping. That's quite important. However, I'm not going to be firing this bike until I've checked the oil and ideally dropped it and changed it, actually. I want fresh oil in this. I've got fresh oil, mad not to use it. And of course, once all the cooling hoses are connected back up, I want to put fresh cooling fluid in. These bikes need good fluid, guys. They heat up. They need good fluid. I don't know at the moment if it even has any compression. That's the truth. I'm doing all these bits around it. That carb was 90 quid. And I don't know if it has compression, but this is kind of the process. This is how it goes, really. 9 times out of 10, you clean your carb and you do tweaks here and there, and your issues are resolved. So new carb's seated. It's a bit of a squeeze on this side, and I had to chop the notch at the top off on the rubber side. Very easy to do, very quick. This carb's bigger than the other carb, very slightly bigger, probably a couple of millimeter, and that's a good thing. That's going to up the power on this, so that's good. What's next? New inline fuel filter. People always challenge me as to whether it's on the right way or not. Look, arrow pointing to the right, that means the flow goes that way. That means this comes up and goes on like that. No issues there at all. And then of course I said I was going to check the oil, drop it, change it at some point. I'll probably check it full and get it fired first. Coolant lines are back on. I need to fill up the coolant. I need to let it bleed itself through. And we're working away here, guys. We're working away at this. Ideally, if this bike was up and running at any point, I'd take the cover off, I'd take the variator off, give it a good clean, check the rollers. If they're round and newish, I'd put them back in after a clean. If they're rounded off, I can spin them a bit, or I can order a new set. There's no issues there. So, what's next for me? What's next for me? I think fuel line. Cable. Throttle cable. Exhaust. Airbox. Now, here's the problem with the cable. At the moment, it was ran up here and down there. That's wrong. That's not okay. Let me get rid of you for a minute. It needs to be run down here. So I think this is the time to change it. That was lazy. Whoever did that, that was lazy. I'll put it back through. All I'm going to do is run down here, like the others. Quick and simple. Run it round, back where it is, back around, and on. It looks currently like it's the right fuel cable for that carb, but it may not be. Remember, that carb's a later model. It's a ST carb, so a bit more power, ideally. That's if this bike runs on it. It might not like the 98 jets. It might not like the bigger jetting. So, busy. Let's continue with them few bits I just talked about. So, throttle cable. There was no way of it sitting correctly without it disturbing the brake. This is the best routing. This is fine. Turning does not put pressure on it. It's good. Plus you get to see your quick throttle. I mean, that's the whole point of it. The brake is not affected. It comes down here. It goes through as it should. It is now connected to the throttle on the carb, as you can see. That's good. And it is a quick throttle. Look, it only turns a third of the way. Probably annoying in reality, but if you want a quick getaway, you're not going to get it because that throttle isn't designed for that carb. It's the truth. But it might be, I wonder if it's easier on the wrist. I wonder if you're doing a little bit of motorway, if it's easier on the wrist. I bet it is because you're not extending so far. The third is the full. So maybe I'm wrong a little bit there. Right, fuel line on. I need to get this topped up with coolant before I forget. Some of these jobs I need to do, otherwise I forget. Let me just double check I put the coolant lines back on. They're here just under the carbs. Cool, I'm going to top up that coolant, give it a few minutes to let it all settle. Stunning. So far, I'm very pleased with this little bike. Very pleased. It's going to be a right money spinner if it starts, runs and rides. It may not.